On those beautifully hit notes, courtesy of the Finals MVP, welcome to NBA Today. I'm Malika Andrews. I feel like I should be singing or doing some karaoke, but I'm going to spare everybody. The ESPN.com offseason power rankings, they are out. And these rankings, remember, they're based on where our NBA reporters think that teams are going to belong heading into next season. So let's take a look here because we want to show you the top 5. It's no surprise, really, that the reigning champions, the Denver Nuggets, they lead the way at number 1. The Milwaukee Bucks at 2, the Boston Celtics at 3, the Suns at 4, and the Miami Heat at 5. Now, despite Miami making the NBA Finals 2 of their last 4 years, their spot in the top 5, it may be a little bit of a surprise to someone, but let's take a look. Who would take their place here? Maybe someone like the Sixers, the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, or someone, the Kings. They feel a little low to me at number 12, despite being the number 2 seed out west last season, or maybe the Pelicans, right? Number 17, even though they were a top 3 seed in their conference before Zion Williamson was injured last year. Or might we be taking a look at a riser over here? The Spurs, should they go up at 26? The Hornets, the Trailblazers, the Washington Wizards, the Detroit Pistons? Well, let's break all of it down. Soon-to-be Hall of Famer Marc Spears is here with us, as well as our senior writer, Zach Lowe. So, Marc, let's just start out. Top of the list. What jumps out to you?
Bucks?
Yeah.
Bucks? Why do we need to respect the Bucks right now?
Why do we need to respect the
They lost in the first round of the playoffs.
Without Giannis, who was hurt for most of the series?
He didn't save them.
With Chris Middleton coming back from an injury?
That hurt my heart that they got bounced out in the first round. I can't give them 2.
You can't give them 2.
Now, I'm not saying they're not nice and they don't have talent, but they can't.
All right.
They got a new coach.
Yes.
Middleton had his worst offensive year in like 7 seasons.
Sure.
I'm not saying they don't have a good roster, but after what happened last year, you can't put them 2.
Oh, all right. The Bucks too high, Marc Spears said. Zach Lowe, any issues there?
Look, if there's anything that gets me riled up, it's preseason power rankings in July. I've been throwing stuff around my house all day long. I'm angry. I'm breaking windows. The Bucks at number 2. I can't believe it. I'm fine with the top 5, to be honest with you. You want to flip-flop Boston, Phoenix, and Milwaukee, punish the Bucks for another postseason flameout. That's fine. They've obviously got a ton of pressure on them coming into the season. They haven't always responded super-duper well to pressure. I guess if I'm looking at the top 5, Miami at 5, it just seems like we should have taken Miami and Philadelphia and put them out of the rankings somewhere off to the side until we figure out what happens with Dame and what happens with Harden, because they have lost 2 starters from their playoff team. Now, they'll get Tyler Hero back. He's kind of another starter. But if they don't get Damian Lillard, if somehow that falls apart for them, I'm a little worried about them holding on into that number 5 spot. But they did make the finals. You got to give them credit. I have no problems. I know you guys want me to be angry about power rankings in July. I just am not that angry.
I don't blame you. There's plenty of time. This is, again, what people think going into next season. But I agree. We should just have like a separate question mark list for whatever happens with Damian Lillard, whatever happens with James Harden.
Take them out.
Feels like
I agree with that.
To set them off to the side for now. So let's take a look then at the bottom of the list now. We're talking about the Spurs, the Hornets, the Blazers, the Wizards, the Pistons, right? They make up the bottom 5 of those power rankings. So I don't know. Is there a team here, Marc, that deserves a little bit more love?
I think it's the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
Monty Williams as a coach there is a huge pickup for a group with some unbelievable young talent. Cade Cunningham, he's going to be healthy. He's going to be good. Jaden Ivey and Ausar Thompson, man. Mm-hmm. He's going to be special, Rookie of the Year candidate. But they still have some new vets like Joe Harris, Monty Morris, Bogdanovic's back. I'm not saying that the Pistons are going to win a championship or anything like that, but I do think that they could compete for, one of those playing spots.
They could be interesting to watch for sure. Zach, to any of the teams, do you think that they can be a little bit more competitive? Do you think the fans are going to just be rooting for ping pong balls down the stretch? What are you looking at?
Ping pong balls, baby. I would be surprised if Detroit competes for a play-in spot. But if you want to give them a little more love, that's fine. You can't give them any less love than being number 30 in the power rankings. And I think what they have going for them is Portland may trade Damian Lillard, trade their way down the standings. The Wizards, they may not be done trading their way down the standings. These rosters could look very different in February than they do today. But, look, we talked a couple days ago how Charlotte, if they get good health this year, we know they have good coaching, they're not as bad as people think. The Spurs were in that bottom 5. They've got some good young talent even beyond Wembanyama, a really good kind of young supporting cast around him. And then you start thinking, well, if I'm moving one of those teams up, who do I have to move down? And you think Indiana, good offseason. Orlando, 500 over its last 50 games. Houston signed a bunch of veterans to help their young players. The league is really, really competitive this year. Like the 25th, 26th best team in the league might be a 35-win kind of team. The league's in a very good spot.
And he took the words out of my mouth. The parity amongst the 30 teams is outstanding. Like, I can't, and Zach, help me here, Malika, what team is just trash? I think all the teams, like, you got to show up against everybody.
Right, it's wide open.
Yeah, like, I mean, usually there's like one team, you could show up and you're going to get that W unless you just really lay down, right? But I really think that this is now a time when they should be expansion. Like, the NBA is worthy of it. There is depth in terms of talent in the league, and I think after they get this new TV deal done, it's time for Mexico City and Vegas and Seattle to step up.
Well, let's take a look at some of that depth, right? Because we've talked about the bottom of the list. We've talked about the top of the list. But, Zach, is there anyone, maybe meet me in the middle here, who you think could come out a little too high, maybe a little too low in these initial July early power rankings?
Yeah, I was a little bit struck by the Timberwolves at 16. I think the Timberwolves are going to be a little better than people think, at least in the regular season. And the Hawks at 19. And again, I understand the league is loaded. You're talking about the Kings are number 12. I think that's low for the Kings coming off what they did last year. But Atlanta's got a lot of talent to be all the way down at number 19. They have a great coach in Quinn Snyder who gets his first full year with this group. I think he's going to figure out who should play with whom. Can we get a little better chemistry between Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, who they just extended on a great deal? I kind of think the Hawks are going to be 4, 5, 6 wins better than people think this year. I'd put them a little higher.
Mike Brown is getting these guys back. So this is the second time around. Everybody's coming back. Keegan Murray is going to be better. Duarte coming off the bench was a really sneaky acquisition by the Kings. And so I think, I don't know if their wins are more than they were a season ago, but I do think that they're going to be better and more formidable and also more confident knowing that 17-year playoff-less streak is out of the way. They don't have to worry about that stress.
Absolutely, because sometimes you have to go through it in order to be able to get to that mountaintop. You have to experience a little bit of heartbreak in the playoffs, get a taste of that. And Mike Brown even warned his team about that. Like when they went up against Golden State. This is a seasoned team. You're going to need to feel some of these things before you can get there. I think that the Kings at 12 is entirely too low.
Damian Lillard wants to be in Miami, in South Beach. That is far from a crime. I got another team.
Yeah?
Show America this logo right here. You show it to them. You show it to them right now. You see this right here? This is the Mecca. This ain't Portland. It's New York City, baby. And if you are Damian Lillard, you should call your agent, Aaron Goodwin, the great Aaron Goodwin, and you should tell him to add the New York Knicks to the list of your coveted destinations. I didn't say Brooklyn. That's a borough. I said New York.
He said that's a borough. I've never heard it put like that. Stephen A. not shy about the fact that he wants his Knicks to go all in, acquire Damian Lillard here. After all, the Knicks are coming off a season where they won their first playoff series since 2013. But Zach, Marc, first let's just take a look currently. As it stands right now, this is what their roster looks like, right? The team, they brought in Dante DiVincenzo, reuniting him with his former Villanova teammates Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson headline the front court with former top 10 pick Obi Toppin, now in Indiana. So Zach Lowe, do you think the Knicks took a step forward this summer?
I think they probably took a slight step forward. I mean, losing Obi Toppin for a couple second-round picks hurts, but he just had no path to playing time on this team. Dante DiVincenzo fills a lot of gaps for them. Quentin Grimes will get better. They'll just get better almost by default. Continuity, youth, Josh Hart for the entire season. Philadelphia in turmoil above them. Miami with the uncertainty of the Lillard thing. I think the Knicks can go in next year feeling confident that they can carry over what they did. That unlike 2021, when they got to the playoffs and got swept by Atlanta, got mauled by Atlanta 4-1, that this is not a fluke. This is something they can carry over. But I will say, can I say something to Stephen A. Smith?
Please.
I don't think they should go for Damian Lillard. They have Jalen Brunson. He's an all-star point guard already, and I understand that Stephen A. had on his list of reasons they should go for Dame Lillard, that he and Brunson can fit together just fine, ignore the positional overlap. Offensively, that's true. Defensively, that's not going to work. And I just think if I have Jalen Brunson already, he was an all-star candidate last year, all-NBA candidate. I'm using my assets to get a player at a different kind of position. So, Stephen A., I think Damian Lillard as the all-in play for New York, it's blasphemy.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.